Code used to be this like finite resource or this very premium resource. Just think about like used to cost you a lot of money to generate code in code files.
Right.
Take a step back. That it is now an abundant resource. You're able to generate it. It's nothing, like it's air. That's huge. It is absolutely huge.
One of the things I was wondering if you've experimented with that just for me, I think is the biggest thing this year is the Claude Skills.
I saw your video on it and I just haven't had a chance to dig into it, but I have also read a couple of things that suggest similar themes. So I just can't say personally because I haven't tried it, but yeah, I think conceptually it sounds amazing.
I think you would love it because it just combines everything you're doing in a way that makes it super easy to package, super easy
Mm.
to distribute, really easy for people to understand. It's beautifully documented. It's a really elegantly engineered solution to, I think, all of us who were experimenting on our own came to a lot of the same barriers in terms of MCP being awesome, but also taking up a lot of context, requiring a lot of effort to install, to transfer. And this just solves that problem. And with this progressive disclosure, where it reads in 500 characters and then understands what the skill is and then reads in more as it needs it. And you can make these things insanely complex or really simple. It can include code, it can include MCP servers, it can include documents, it can include, I've got one that I just started that's already 600 lines of instructions in Markdown and calling different scripts and everything. And it's so easy and it snaps together. And I think what you're going to find is in a month, almost anything you want to do is going to be out there. And you
Mm.
snap it in, you say, okay, I need to find something that'll parse PDFs really simply and effectively. And you just snap in a skill to do that. And what I found is Claude, one of the things somebody said yesterday, Alexis Olson said, one of the things that he was frustrated about Claude was how big the system prompt was. And I hadn't noticed that. And I went and I actually, there's a guy named Pliny the Liberator who hacks all the system prompts from all these systems. And so I pointed Claude Code at his repo and I had to analyze the system prompts for all of them. And he was right. The Claude Code system prompt is 10 times bigger than the Gemini one and 3 times bigger than the GPT-5 one.
All
And a
right.
lot of that is tool calling. That it's incredibly skilled at tool calling. And the other thing is it's very personally conversational in terms of almost anticipating what you want. Sometimes a little bit too aggressively, but most of the time I find it quite useful where if I ask it a question, it'll come back with 3 suggestions and a recommendation and it'll anticipate my questions really well. And one of the things they did that I thought was super smart was they used that intelligence to create a skill building skill. So it can help you now build skills in this really highly expert way. And I think it'll be interesting to see if it gains the sort of widespread acceptance that MCP did. I feel like
Yeah.
MCP caught everybody by surprise and OpenAI and Microsoft, I don't think they had anything similar. So they said, okay, let's get on board and get people doing this. The
Mm.
important thing was to get everybody moving in the same direction toward agents and this sort of thing. I don't know. I feel like even though everybody got on board, Anthropic maintained an edge by having the technology first and understanding it best. And it would be interesting to see. I feel like strategically, the other companies are not gonna give them that edge again. Even though I think engineering wise, it's a brilliantly constructed system. And as far as I've experimented with it so far, it just seems to work beautifully. But I don't
Mm.
know if it's going to get the same level of buy-in that the MCP did.
we're starting to see the emergence of these bigger players try to become platforms. You're starting to see it
Yeah.
with OpenAI and their plugins that they've recently announced. And this is, I guess, the start of adding additional skills and tools easier to Claude. You're just going to be spending more time in a ChatGPT environment doing more things. Like there is really no doubt in my mind. If you believe, like I do, that this AI is the new layer, they are getting out, all the existing players, the incumbents are getting outcompeted like crazy by these two players right now.
Yeah. I think Google is still running close. The Gemini 3 is supposedly coming out any day now. It
Yeah.
seems like they've been testing it on Ella Marina, and
Yep.
the word is it's fantastic.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm sure. Look, they'll, as we've always said, the market's huge. The market is huge. So there's nothing for them to be worried about. But in terms of
Yeah.
getting picked at or being picked off in certain areas or certain parts of their business, it's absolutely happening. It's absolutely like Google sent me, they're increasing my YouTube premium price by 33%. You're only doing that if you're getting killed somewhere else and some other lever is getting crushed, which is probably like Google Ads, right? On the other side. That at a time when, you know, the general economy is not doing that well and you're increasing something by 33% and people just have to accept it. Like obviously they've got a lot of pricing power and good on them, but something's getting eroded somewhere else if they're having to do that.
If you think about the fact that two of those three companies 3 years ago barely existed, at
Oh,
least in the public eye,
yeah.
and now that you just hear about them every single day.
I remember listening to podcasts or reading articles that, five or 6 years ago, Google is unbeatable. There's no way to beat Google. And a new paradigm has been created and they're absolutely getting disrupted. I don't think that they're in any trouble at all, but like certain parts of their core business are absolutely getting disrupted. I have not clicked on a Google ad for probably over 6 months now. I very rarely go to Google other than just to find, like, if I don't know the URL of something. And that entire paradigm is absolutely changing. I would be very surprised if the Atlas browser was not very popular over time, over the next few years. I truly feel like a browser from OpenAI makes complete sense. Yeah, it's just so fascinating. It's just, phew, I love it. I love it. I'm so
Yeah.
positive. I'm more positive over the last couple of weeks on opportunity. I truly am. I truly am. There is no doubt going to be like a lot of larger businesses and a lot of businesses are going to get smaller. There's just no doubt about it. But there is just so much opportunity. There is so much leverage that you can create for yourself personally or for a smaller company with the things that you can plug into now. There's just so much. You can think so big. You just have to think big. You've got to think outside maybe what you thought in the past. There is opportunity everywhere, absolutely everywhere.
One thing that really struck me yesterday was when I don't know how affected you were, but we were hugely affected by the Amazon outage.
Yeah, I personally wasn't, but I did hear about it.
It just shut down a lot of the services that I use, and it made you realize how much of the underlying infrastructure Amazon controls now.
Oh, totally. Amazon, this is what Amazon and Microsoft and Google are going to turn into. They're going to be the
Yeah.
power players in data centers. We've been saying this for ages. This is going to be their business.
I mean, I
This is
didn't
going to be
realize I was listening to a story about it that Amazon owns, I think, 350 data centers around the world, and they're building like almost double that. It's just
yeah.
the scale of it is just incredible.
And I don't think there is a lot of people out there questioning, is this a bubble? Is this an overcapacity? I don't think it is. I truly don't think it is. When you just look at what the possibilities are, when you've got 7 billion people who could literally plug into this stuff every single day, for every single thing that they could ultimately do, this is not an overbuild. There is going to be a demand at some point in the next 5, 10 years. Like maybe there will be an excess supply at some point, but based on what is projected at this point, I don't think that there is. I think that it will get eaten up. All of that usage will get eaten up.